Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Scott Walter from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Famous novelist and poet, initiated at 30 years of age, born at the College Wynd, Edinburgh, Scotland, August 15, 1771, and educated at the high school. Previous to entering the university in November 1783, he spent some weeks at Kelso, attending daily the public schools. At 15, he was indentured an apprentice to his father, an attorney. On December 16, 1799, he was appointed to the sheriffdom of Selkirkshire. At an emergency meeting held on Monday, March 2, 1801, Walter Scott was initiated, passed and raised in Lodge St. David, number 36, Edinburgh. The father and the son of Brother Scott were Freemasons, the former initiated in Lodge St. David, January 1754, the latter in Lodge Canongate, Kilwinning, number 2, November 29, 1826. June 4, 1816, Scott, in the presence of the provincial Grand Master of the district, the most noble, the Marquis of Lothian, laid the foundation of a new lodge room at Selkirk and was elected an honorary member of the lodge there, St. John, now number 32, on the Grand Lodge roll. Scott was announced as a baronet in the Gazette on April 1, 1820, the first baronet made by King George IV. The reference to the oblong square of the tournament field in his romance Ivanhoe is familiar, and the Lay of the Last Minstrel by Scott is inscribed to the Earl of Dalkeith, a member of the same lodge and then Grand Master. Scott was in 1823 offered the Grand Mastership of the Royal Grand Conclave of Knights Templar of Scotland. He declined because of his age and health not permitting me to undertake the duties which, whether convivial or charitable, a person undertaking such an office ought to be in readiness to perform when called upon. His reasons are all the more impressive when referred to his noble diligence in satisfying a debt not wholly his own, a labor that surely shortened his life. The failure of the printing house of Ballantyne and Company occurred in 1826. Scott's liabilities as a partner amounted to nearly £150,000. Determined that all his creditors should be paid, he refused to be a party to a compromise or to accept any discharge. He pledged himself to devote the whole labor of his subsequent life to the payment of his debts, and he fulfilled this promise. In the course of 4 years, his literary works yielded nearly £70,000, and ultimately his creditors received every penny of their claims. He paid, indeed. In February 1830, he had an apoplectic seizure and never thoroughly recovered. After another severe shock in April 1831, he was persuaded to abandon literary work. He died at Abbotsford on September 21, 1832, in his 62nd year. 5 days later, the remains of Sir Walter Scott were laid in the sepulchre of his ancestors in the old Abbey of Dryborough. These details furnished by the late brother A.M. Mackey, past master, Lodge St. David. See also Treasury of Masonic Thought, George M. Martin John W. Callahan, 1924, page 93. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can please consider donating to Wars of the Roses, links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.